electronics for most extreme wrestling, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for May 27th, 2020, live from the Daily's Place. Double or Nothing was last Saturday, so Dynamite is same place, different time, and backstage in the loading dock area, we see the Inner Circle. And they're very upset because they have purchased shirts that indicate that they won the Stadium Stampede that happened at Double or Nothing. It's a championship victory shirt for them to sell out to the masses. Well, they didn't only get a couple of boxes of these. Apparently, they got an entire truck full of these shirts. They should have thought about going to ProWrestlingTees.com because those shirts are made to order. So they definitely missed out. A horrible decision by that. And well, speaking of horrible decisions, now we got Joey Janela. He's making an entrance because, my goodness, if we miss that, we'd definitely be missing out on life. He's with the Private Party, and we're going to get to that match in just a second. But first, we got to see Matt Hardy and the Elite and Paige and Omega. Now, Matt Hardy, he's going on about his promo because the opponents here in this match are Matt Hardy and the Elite of Matt and Nick Jackson. Well, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, they decide that this promo is kind of redundant, so let's go get a drink. Apparently, they got drinks in the backside. Well, in the back area. I don't know what side it was in. But they go to have drinks while these guys talk. The Bucks, they want to see the old Matt Hardy, as do we all. But as Matt Hardy comes back from his changing curtain or wherever he was, you know, we got the 1999-2000 Matt Hardy. And they said, no. We want something a little older. Something that more matches the Young Bucks look. We're talking about the Hardys look from, 95, 96, when they were basically doing jobs, when Matt Hardy was doing jobs back in the day. Which, by the way, I saw on the internet there was a video of Matt Hardy and Owen Hart having a match way back in the day. I didn't even know that was a thing that had happened. But holy crap, basically, we're talking about that kind of gear. So, old. Very old. It's Private Party and Joey Janela. I don't know why they're together, but they're together. Good for Joey Janela versus the Young Bucks and Broken Matt Hardy, or 1995 Hardy, whatever. Halfway into this match, we see a spot where the Young Bucks start going to the outside. And keep in mind that the Young Bucks, I believe it was Matt Jackson, if I'm remembering correctly, had a rib injury. Like, he was injured going into Double or Nothing. Then he did that moonsault off of the goalpost, the football goalpost, where he barely, if even, got caught and injured himself more, from what I understand. Well, this Double or Nothing injured man continues to fight in this and has enough strength to take on, in the crowd, of Butcher and Blade. He attacks them, and just like out of nowhere, like, why did he attack him? I didn't understand that at the point. Apparently it's going to make more sense as we go on. Matt Jackson does a moonsault with his taped ribs and wins this match for the Elite and Matt Hardy. So, you know, he was selling the fact that his ribs are hurt and everything, but at the end of the match, when he did the moonsault, he just won and was like, well, I won, yay! And like, no indication at that point that he was hurt. And I said, oh. I mean, he's hurt in real life. You think that he might, you know, maybe show it a little bit, but I don't know, maybe he's just so tough. I don't know what the case is. But Butcher and Blade, they've had enough of this showboating, and they come running inside of the ring and start attacking the Young Bucks. And I said, well, at least that makes sense, that they would actually come and not put up with getting beat up by these guys while they're in a match. I mean, Butcher and Blade, I know they weren't all warmed up and stuff. They were trying to enjoy the night and eat their popcorn in the crowd. Why ever they're doing that, I don't know. But yeah, they were like, man, screw this. and came and attacked. And then boom, out of nowhere, I'm like, wait, hold up, what's going on? We see what I believe was a 1964 Chevrolet truck come rolling up, all black, it's customized and everything, looking real nice. And who is this? It's Cash and Dax. It's FTR, formerly known as the Revival. I don't know what FTR stands for. I figured it meant F the Revival. But they come in and attack Butcher and Blade. Why Butcher and Blade? I don't know. Maybe they don't like old school Chevrolet trucks. I don't know. Either way, I'm a huge mark for Chevrolet trucks. Well, not Chevrolet trucks, but classic old school trucks, cars. Man, seeing that, I was like, hey, man, that's what wrestling is missing right there. Some classic car action. We don't get to see it that much anymore. I mean, we did get to see Becky Lynch show up in an 18-wheeler. I think it was like a Peterbilt, but I mean, come on. Last time I can really recall something like that happening was like Eddie Guerrero coming out in his classic lowriders. Like he'd have an old Impala and okay, I'm getting off track. Anyways, Moxley, he is the AEW champion still, even after this pay-per-view. He's making his entrance so he can come out and do commentary. I mean, come on, dude, you're doing commentary. Why do you got to do the full-blown entrance where you're coming out with the fans? Well, at least there's more fans now. It looks like they're putting the ring crew and whoever else wants to show up in the crowd. So we got a more meaty sound in the crowd. We got more of that surrounding. Some more. You can have chants that don't sound like five guys going, "This is awesome." It actually sounds like a crowd is a brewing out there. He's on commentary for this next match. It's Brian Cage, who is the #1 contender for the AEW Championship. He debuted at Double or Nothing, so if you missed Double or Nothing, well, you got to check out my review because I talked about all of these things, so you know what I'm saying. Taking on Lee Johnson. And yeah, this was pretty quick. As you can imagine, Brian Cage with Taz completely destroys, with the drill claw, Lee Johnson, and Brian Cage wins. As he should. Taz gets on the microphone, cuts a promo on Jon Moxley, and he says at Fyter Fest, Cage is coming for that championship. So I thought, wait, so Fyter Fest is a thing, like we're doing that? And because they haven't really talked about it on commentary, and they're making this match as if the match was already announced or something. Which, I mean, I guess the match was announced because he's the #1 contender, but I didn't know that it was going to be happening at Fyter Fest, but it's going to be happening at Fyter Fest, so now you got it. I got it, now I know, because they told us here on this episode of Dynamite. Okay, now, here's the problem I had with this promo. Taz starts speaking, and he says, you can survive if he lets you. Yeah, so like beat Cage if you can, survive if he lets you. Which, that's Taz's line. So, let me get this straight. We basically have a Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman light ripoff. And I'm saying real light, like light. Like when you get that ham to put on your sandwiches. And I mean, it's not like bologna size thickness. It's like thin, where you got to take like 20 pieces and kind of fold them up and put them on there to have any kind of decent sandwich. I'm talking about razor thin. And he's not even using his own promo lines. I get it. Maybe Brian Cage, maybe he doesn't have his own line, but for Taz to just use his line and just slightly alter it, I mean, what are they doing? Who are they trying to get over here? I mean, coming out of this thing, I'm just like, okay, well, Brian Cage is a humongous man who shouldn't be jumping over the top rope when he makes his entrance, but he does. He destroyed. He just looks like some kind of beast, and he's got a famous talker guy talking for him. I know nothing about Brian Cage from what AEW has shown me so far. So, Fyter Fest, from what I understand, is it's not in September. That's All Out. So I don't even know when Fyter Fest is. I'm not even sure that they mentioned it here on this episode. So whenever that is, that's when it's going to happen. So I hope in that time, my point is that they can demonstrate why we should give two hells about what Brian Cage is going to do. Next up, we got Britt Baker. And boy, was this good. I just watched the Britt Baker podcast on the TNT YouTube page. And it was good stuff. Britt Baker, she's talking about some of the botches that's happened in the past that I've covered. It's like her speaking and kind of how she's really gotten into the groove of what she's doing. And I'm down with what she's doing. She has the rules for being a role model. She's in a wheelchair. She got her knee hurt. And I just hit my knee when I did that. And that kind of hurt my own knee. But not as bad because the whole point of this promo is to let us know when she's going to be back in the ring and capable of having a match. That's what's important here. So she has this little flip card thing, and she's got like multiple points of reference to show us like her visual aids, basically. And she has this lady with her. I think her name was Rosa, I don't know. She was a lady to assist her, and Tony Schiavone was there as well. And it was hilarious because it looked so thrown together. It looked like the girl that was helping her and Tony Schiavone didn't even know what the segment was or what was supposed to happen. They were just kind of reacting to what Britt Baker was doing. And I really think that was authentic because if they really were that confused and that lost on what they were supposed to be doing, then they are hella good actors. But she says that number 3 rule is do not hurt the role model. Because it's Britt Baker. She is in a wheelchair because of her knee injury that she's recovering from. And she's got role model bedazzled on the back of that wheelchair, which was hilarious. I like it. Man, she's going to be in a wheelchair for a while. Hey, that's something that could be in, like an action figure add-in or add-on. That could be on a shirt. That could be on a lot of things. And that they did this thing when she left, and it was just like her in the wheelchair and the smoke and the lights going through the entrance. Man, that is video package worthy stuff. You could even put that on her entrance video. It's good cinematography going on there. But you're talking about Chris Statlander is not an alien. There's conspiracies going on here in AEW because she's seen Nyla Rose in the past and she's very precise, and she landed on Britt Baker's knee, and that was on purpose. Aubrey Edwards, Madam Aubrey Edwards. I hope that they keep this around because I love the name Madam Aubrey Edwards. It just sounds so damn proper. I want to keep that. That could be a shirt too. Hey, that pro wrestling tees. Okay. That's just where they sell their shirts. I'm not promoting anything. Nobody's paying me crap. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but hey. Anyways, because I'm cheap. And Britt Baker will be back in action at All Out, which is in September. Oh my gosh, that's so long. But you know what? That's okay. I mean, of course, I want her to wrestle, and I want her to be healthy, and I want her to be safe. I'm not trying to say it's a blessing to disguise or anything like that, because that's BS. But she does have the distinct advantage that she can be funny, and she can be entertaining. And although sometimes in the past it completely fell flat to me, she's been nailing it. And this kind of stuff is great. It's hilarious. And it really shows her character. So I'm all in on that. And she's going to be all in when all in is all in, because that's when Britt Baker returns to the ring. Next up, we have the Inner Circle getting interviewed about the prep rally that's going to be happening tonight. They're having a prep rally basically because, yeah, they didn't win, but they're going to get back on track, and they're going to do a little party action. They're going to celebrate, and they're going to get back. I mean, the whole purpose of a prep rally is to get ready for the fight. So they're doing a prep rally to get ready for when they're great. And Orange Cassidy walks by into the shot, and they are very upset about this. They're like, really? And yeah, so they're not okay with that. Next up, we got Christina James taking on Shida, the champion, in a no A non-title match. I tried to work no in there because, it just slipped out. But I really meant to say it's a non-title match. Okay. And Jane's over there. Oh my goodness. This lady, whew, she's good. And she's smoking. I'm just going to say it. The only thing I didn't understand was she supposed to be a face? Or is she supposed to be a heel? I don't know. I mean, it was pretty unclear what she was going for because, she was showing out and she was posing and she was dancing and she was being happy and, just doing all this like, yay, look at me. But then she would be mean and I just was confused. I didn't understand. I mean, Sheeta's supposed to be the good guy, right? She's the champion, yada, yada. They go for a while. It was good. I hope to see Jane's in the future, but Sheeta goes for the knees, and that doesn't beat this lady. So then she does a Falcon Arrow and wins. I think that's a mistake. I think you should just hit the knees because that's your finisher, and then you win. But maybe this Falcon Arrow is like her backup finisher. It just, when you don't have consistent finishers, I don't know, it just kind of throws it off to me. I get it that people have multiple finishers, but I don't think everybody should just be having multiple finishers and expect us to remember all your freaking finishers when the commentators half the time can't even remember them anyways. Next up, we got Paige and Omega. They're getting drunk on a couch. Then Paige sees the camera that's filming them while they're sitting on the couch, and he's all like, "Is this a camera? Hold on. Is this a camera? Is this a camera?" And he goes all through the break and comes back, and then that's over with. Okay. Cody, he is the TNT champion. He's coming out with Arn, and he's cutting a promo with Tony. Tony's interviewing him. And is talking about Tom Brady for whatever reason. I mean, that's a pretty divisive person to talk about, but he talks about him anyways, comparing himself to him, and how Tony Khan, when he started this whole thing and got AEW going, Cody was not his first, second, third, fourth, whatever. He wasn't his first call, and basically he feels like he's got to prove something. And he was talking about the TNT networks, which he almost sounded insincere when he was talking about that, which I didn't understand. Because I don't think that he's insincere about that. It just kind of came off that way. Cody starts talking about his mom and how she was a hard worker. QT Marshall's over there trying to holler at people, and Brandy's trying to tell him to pay attention, which they keep showing that over and over and over, which was distracting. You could have shown it once, maybe twice, but they showed it like 4 times. We get it. The dude's trying to talk to the lady. Okay. Nobody needs to see QT Marshall that much right now. Nobody cares. I mean, we're still trying to figure out why he has an apple. I mean, really? Really? Why does he need it? It's just stupid. Okay. I'm sure it has some deep meaning to him, but it doesn't mean anything to us. Anyway, so he's talking about his mom. She's a hard worker, and every week he is going to defend this thing. So it's going to make people wonder, is the TNT Championship the television title? Well, let me answer that. It's called the TNT Championship, and that's the channel they're on. So it's on the TV. It basically is the TNT. It is the television title. I mean, that's just what it is, right? I mean, is there any delusions about this? Anyways, Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, or Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford, rather, and Jimmy Havoc taking on SCU of Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. This is AEW. They don't really pay attention to the tag rules. Like, for instance, there was a spot where the tag was allowed while they were climbing the rope. There was another spot where a tag was made, almost a blind tag, but the referee saw it and just ignored it. But I didn't understand. So this apparently is for the number one contendership, I guess, for the tag team championships. I was like, what? Havoc and Kip Sabian win this match. Yes, you heard that right. So next week it's going to be Omega and Paige. So Havoc and Kip Sabian. They're a tag team? And then at Fight or Flight, or Fight or Fest, whatever, Xavier, or Excalibur. Oh my gosh, Excalibur. Excalibur says on commentary that at Fight or Fest, it's going to be best friends, or whoever wins in this other match is. I'm like, really? Did you just give away the ending of this? Anyways, next week we're going to be seeing Omega and Page go against Kip Sabian and Havoc. Whatever. MJF, he deserves a championship match, or at least that's what he says. And tonight, it's going to be the number one contendership match for the TNT title. It is a battle royal, and he wants to win that, and he's got Wardlow to help him. So, it's the battle royal time. It's MJF, Sonny Kiss, Billy Gunn, Luchasaurus, Brandon Cutler, Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, Cole Cabana, the Librarian Daniels, and Luther. Now, Luther, I don't even know why he was in there. I forgot he was hired, but Excalibur thinks that he's great. Excalibur gets chokeslammed out of the ring over the top rope, and I promise you that's as over as that man's going to get in AEW, regardless if he's a Japanese death dealer or not. Does not matter. But MJF tosses out Billy Gunn, does the suck it, and Cassidy, he returns because he got beat up when he was making his entrance. And MJF pulls out the diamond ring, the Dynamite diamond ring, and accidentally hits Wardlow in the face. Wardlow's out, MJF is out. We end up going down to two people. It's Cassidy and Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy wins this thing, and he's confused by his victory. He's like, wait, did I win? Huh? What? But then, once he realizes, and once we all realize that that Jungle Boy has won, Jungle Boy now is the number one contender for next week for the TNT Championship. So, once again, AEW with the Battle Royal. They say that the wins and losses matter, but then they make a number one contendership match and they just make a big Battle Royal. So next week you're going to see Jungle Boy, but if Cody Rhodes wins, he's just going to fight people for his title every single week. So if they're all for the championship, then what's the point of having a number one contendership? I mean, they might as well just pull numbers out of hats at this point, because they're not doing anything with the numbers as far as the rankings go. Now it's time for the prep rally time. We got cheerleaders, we got a drum line, and then boom, Vicky Guerrero pops out wearing a cheerleader outfit, like you know, when you wake up from a nightmare and you're like, oh, it's just a dream. But no, it's Vicky Guerrero, which I love Vicky Guerrero, and she is freaking hilarious. As the Inner Circle comes out, they got their shirts and everything. She introduces them. They're throwing shirts out, but the wrestlers in the crowd start throwing the shirts back in the ring, which I'm like, these aren't real fans, they're wrestlers. So Jericho should go bitch slap each and every one of these guys, but he didn't. And of course, it's a Inner Circle celebration. They got gifts. They're giving out presents. Sammy Guevara gives out a participation award for their match at Double or Nothing. Chris Jericho is like, why does this say like dad joke champion? He's like, it's because of all these lockdowns. And Hager has a poem which almost goes into violence. And Santana and Ortiz, they have gifts as well. But Jericho, he didn't really get what he wanted, and Sammy Guevara knows that because, you know, they're best pals and everything. So he asks him, and Jericho says, what I really want is to get his hands on Tyson. He wants an apology from Tyson. So Tyson comes out. They're standing in front of each other. Jericho's talking about 10 years ago when Mike Tyson did something with Jericho and how he deserves an apology, whatever. And Mike Tyson, unfortunately, grabs the microphone for a little bit, and it's always just, you never know what's going to happen when he grabs the microphone because he's just all over the place. But Jericho, he's holding onto the mic, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to pull this on back over here. Then he riles them up. They want to fight, whatever. Of course, we got to fight. Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho, they start going at it. Mike Tyson, before this, is ripping off his shirt all awkwardly. He should have taken some notes from Hulk Hogan because, I mean, he's like the baddest man on the planet, but damn, he can't get that shirt off. And he just keeps doing this. Why does he always do this? Like, he did this in 1998. He's just like locked in place. He's like an action figure. Ah! And he was doing that again tonight. Well, he's ripping off his shirt. He should have practiced. I mean, shit, they had a whole truckload of Chris Jericho shirts. He could have practiced on them. I mean, he had pockets full of money when he showed up in 1998. He's going to have another fight coming up. So, hey, he's got money. He came out with his entourage again. These guys are standing in the ring. They're going to fight. They do fight. People are trying to break them up. I mean, did they have to do this exactly like the 1998 Tyson and Austin and Shawn Michaels thing? I mean, it was almost beat for beat. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I understand they're trying to cash in on some of that stuff, but really, you could have done something a little different. I mean, just the same thing again. Well, that's what they did, and that's how they chose to spend their money on Mike Tyson. Debuting their new TNT Championship and then getting a big old beat-down brawl with Chris Jericho and spilling out the entire AEW locker room. That was AEW Dynamite, and I will catch you guys next time.